It's either you're going to die, it's either your baby's going to die, or it's either you both going to die. No.
You're willing to take the risk of losing your own life and losing both your child's life and yourself. Imagine hearing that when you're like 3 months pregnant.
I opened her blankets, and I kid you not, she was like this small. She was like 0.91, I think.
She wasn't even 1 kg.
No.
Hey guys, welcome to Centtwinz TV right here on YouTube with myself, Innocent, and myself, Millicent. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, welcome. Regorapetse is here today to share her story, and I cannot wait to hear from you. Firstly, please do introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay, firstly, thank you so much for having me. My name is Regorapetse, and I'm the founder of She Speaks SA. She Speaks SA is a platform for women to heal through self-expression. And I started the company because of my own journey. 2017, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And how I found out about that is my nipple was inverted. And I was like, okay, what's going on? But because I'm not a person that really worries about my health because I don't get sick. And also when you grow up, they say, blow your nose and you'll be fine. So I just left it. 2 months into it, I had a gut in my gut saying something's not right. So I called my cousin. She's a neurologist. Called my cousin, said, "Look, something's not. I don't have a good feeling about this." She came. She looked. She was like, "Let's go for tests." Went for tests. So I went for a mammogram, biopsy, and X-rays and other tests.
So you could see with the nipple, right?
Yes.
Did you experience any pain?
Nothing.
Okay.
That's
it just
another
looked
reason.
different. Just
Yes.
Okay.
That's another reason why I was like, you know what? They say, what's this? They say, what's the saying? I forgot the saying, but you know that this being naive is bliss. Yes. So I was like, whatever, it'll come out, you know. And also, it didn't look different. It was just the nipple was in. Right?
Inwards.
Yes,
Like it's sinking
yes,
inside.
yes.
Okay. I've seen a picture like that
Yes.
before on the internet.
So then, when my cousin came, she was like, let's go for tests. As I said, went for biopsy, mammogram, and also X-rays and other tests. Then after that, on the 1st of August, she came and she told me it was breast cancer, stage 3. It was actually inflammatory breast cancer, so it is an aggressive cancer. So because she's obviously a doctor, she has a professor that she spoke to him and said, okay, who do we go for like, you know, more tests and stuff, and also treatments. So the professor gave us one of the best oncologists at Joburg Gen. Went to go see her, and that same day I started chemotherapy.
Wait. Okay. Yeah. You're moving so fast. Because for me, my question is, where were you emotionally? Take us through, you know, that emotional acceptance and the first time hearing it.
Yeah. I think for me, to be honest, my emotional acceptance will be forever. You know, it's constantly ongoing. Yeah. Because for me, the chemo didn't really get me down physically. It got me down emotionally. Like, it took me down to a minus 1,000, you know, type of thing. But on the day, luckily, because my cousin got the results from, you know, they emailed them to her, she came home. So I was in the comfort of my own home with my aunts. My aunts and my cousin, we faith girls. Like, we are Christ, you know. So they were just like, believe in God. He's got this. Give it to him. And we'll, you know, the support that they gave me and still give me now is just, it took me through and still takes me through each day, you know. So emotionally, it's every day is different, you know. Even after it now being 6 years, every day is still different, you know. So after the first visit with my oncologist, as I said, we did chemo. By God's grace, the chemo didn't get me down physically. So everybody that complains about, well, not doesn't complain, but tells us that they can't walk and the vomiting and all of that. I didn't go through that. Like for me, after chemo, I went straight, drove myself down to Durban, drove myself down
Sure.
So chemotherapy is an IV drip, right? So it's like, you know, when you go get medication or you are in hospital and they put you on a drip.
Yes.
So it's something like that.
Okay.
And they have to mix it depending on, because there's so many different kinds of chemotherapies. So there's one called the Red Devil because it is red, and also it gets you messed up. Like it's
strong.
Okay. Bona. It is strong.
Yeah.
I actually started with that one first. And what actually chemo does, it breaks down all your good cells and your bad cells. That's why you lose the hair. That's why you vomit, because in your body you've got bad cells and good cells that fight to keep you healthy and also to keep your immune system in check.
Okay.
You know, so the chemotherapy breaks all those cells down, and that's why you feel weak, because you don't have the good cells fighting for you inside. You know, and in that way then that slows down the tumor. You know, in terms of growing to other organs in your body or growing where it is. You know, so when people say it's stage 4, it's metastasized, that means it's gone to another organ within your body. So for instance, with me, I had breast cancer. So, and I will explain further, but then I went to stage 4 and it had gone to my bones and my lungs. Yeah, so that's it going to another organ in your body, you know. So it's always best to get it early, then so you can go for, you know, the radiation, the operation and all of that. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
So you find out, you start chemo, obviously you're still young, you want to start a family, you want to have a baby. And the first thing that comes to mind when I hear someone has cancer, just thinking, okay, someone's going to die. It's going to be 6 months or a year or 2 years or 3 years, because everybody that we've seen, you know, or that we're exposed to have cancer, they don't live for years and years and years.
Absolutely.
Like, and the quality of their lives is sort of compromised because they're in chemo, they're in recovery, they're doing this. It's like, what now? It sort of feels like the end of the road.
Life.
Exactly. So how did you receive that, and how did you say, okay, am I at the end of my life, or am I taking my life back? What do I do?
I'm at the beginning.
What was your
I'm
next
about
step?
to take
Absolutely.
Am I having
life.
the baby now or later? Or am I not having the baby at all because I'm sick? My life is over.
First of all, you are fighting for your life. Regardless if it is getting you physically or mentally, because people don't understand how, like, mental health is a thing. Like, it'll knock you down to your confidence not existing anymore, you know. So it is a fight for your life. But for me, I don't really like kids. So for me, the whole kids thing, I wasn't a person that wanted to say I'm going to have kids and you know.
Okay.
But as I grew up, I wanted purpose. So I did think of wanting a kid. But you know, all of those things go out the window when you being said, okay, cancer, because I was also part of society that believes cancer equals death, you know. But I believe now that I'm really a living testament to say that cancer doesn't equal death. It putting your mind in a right perspective equals new life, you know. And that's how I actually see it right now.
Powerful.
Because 2020, that's actually when I always say it's when all hell broke loose, because it then progressed to stage 4, and also that's when I also found out I was 3 months pregnant with my now 3-year-old daughter. So that meant me having chemotherapy during pregnancy.
Sure.
And you know, I think because obviously I was going through since 2017, I was like, okay, I can do this. But you never really know what you're getting into, so you're still scared. You know, I pray to God every single day, because when I found out I was stage 4, so how I found out is that my breast wasn't looking really good, you know. And at that time I already knew that I was pregnant because I went for 3 pregnancy tests because I didn't believe that I was pregnant because I didn't want a kid, you know. Then, so I went to the doctor. I called for an appointment to see the breast clinic. They looked at me and said, well, the cancer's eating at your breast. That's why it looks like this. So knowing that I'm 3 months pregnant, I was like, okay, I know, in my head, I was like, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make sure that I can have my baby, you know. So
the baby gave you hope.
It gave me reason. It gave me so many
goodness.
things.
Yeah.
I love that.
Now you had something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
You were just like, you know what?
Let's go.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Absolutely. So then, so I obviously sat down with my oncologist to say, okay, fine, what are my options? She said, well, I love the fact that she was very honest with me because she was like, it's either you're going to die, it's either your baby's going to die, or it's either you both going to die, or you guys going to make it. So I'm like, okay, yeah. That's how real it was.
Imagine hearing that when you're like 3 months pregnant.
And knowing that afterwards I might not be able to have a baby.
I see.
Because so my cancer, or the cancer I've been diagnosed with, is HER2 positive, so it gets my hormones. So I am induced in menopause. So I don't have my cycle. I don't have like any of those things.
So at this point, you know that this is probably your only chance to fall pregnant.
Absolutely.
And you're trying to protect this pregnancy with your life.
And also because I'm a Christian, I don't believe in abortion. I don't believe in, getting rid of the child. I don't protect.
It's not an option.
No, it's not an option.
Yeah.
No.
You're willing to take the risk of losing your own life and losing both your child's life and yourself. You're like, I am doing this.
I am doing this. And I did, and telling my story, it's easy telling my story, but when I get to my child, I always get a bit emotional, or I take 5 minutes to answer the question, because I had to get rid of, now when I see her, and also when I'm raising her, I have to get rid of the mommy's guilt, because she had to fight before coming into this world because of the decision I made, but my decision was to save her and protect her afterwards, because I was told that I need to go for an abortion. I was also, for instance, I gave birth on the 11th because it was actually by C-section, because 3 days before, I was told I had heart failure. So a normal heart beats at 70%, mine was beating at 30%. I was bloated. Yeah, no, it was bad. I was completely bloated. So I joke and I say I had all the ologists in the world, because I had a cardiologist, I had an oncologist, and I had a gynecologist that was looking after me. So then I gave birth on the 11th. I had to do it under anesthesia, so I didn't feel anything.
Okay, so you're completely out.
Yeah, I was completely out. Woke up, they rushed me to ICU because they weren't sure if I was going to make it or not. So then from ICU went to high care. From high care, that's only when I saw my daughter 3 days later. And
3 days?
Yeah.
So 3 days is trying to stabilize you?
Yes.
To be able to
observing me, just to make sure I'm okay.
Yes. And was she fine? Was the baby fine?
She was. She's my little fighter. That's why I say I can't talking about her. She's my little fighter. And when I say little, I also mean that literally.
Yes.
Because when I met her, I opened her blankets, and I kid you not, she was like this small. She was 0.91, I think.
She wasn't even 1 kg.
No, because of the chemotherapy, the blood circulation wasn't great. So when I opened the blankets, I'm like,
baby,
where's the rest of your girl?
It's so tiny.
Because she was small. But it was actually to my advantage because I wasn't fully recovered. So carrying a heavier baby, it was, it was not going to be easy for me.
And breastfeeding, so that means you can't.
Milk. I actually didn't produce milk. Funny enough, I'm glad that I didn't produce milk. I'm glad I didn't breastfeed, because a lot of people say that, as soon as the baby sucks onto, is really sore. So
They traumatized you.
girl. So, but the one thing I do miss is after giving birth, putting them on your chest, like that first moment of, I think I will forever miss that. But I'm just so blessed that she's okay, and I'm okay, and we go through each day. And that's also why I did start, as I said earlier, I did start my company called She Speaks SA. Because during my time of like the whole everything, my mental health it didn't exist, I was before, because I was doing events, I was a confident woman. Because you're doing events, you need to speak to people, go, like interact with a lot of people all the time. So I was comfortable. But post this experience, I was like, can I even do it? So each day is a different day. Each day it's a let us go. And during the time as well, I didn't find a platform for me to speak to somebody to say, okay, no, you can do it. Because funny enough, in America, it's more like being pregnant and chemotherapy and cancer, it's more welcomed than here in South Africa.
Interesting.
So I couldn't find a platform here in South Africa for us to discuss. Everything was negative. Like, I advise people, when they're going through something, don't go on the internet. We call it doctor websites, doctor internet. Don't go.
Like,
don't
you literally
go
just created a community, basically.
Absolutely.
To feel safe,
to
give hope,
yes.
to give hope,
Yes.
and that's positive, and that's sort of changed the narrative of what cancer is.
Absolutely.
And what it could possibly be.
Absolutely.
And just take, I guess, control of the end result.
Absolutely.
So you're deciding that it's going to end well with me, and that's all in the mind.
Absolutely. And I also tell people that you are who you say you are. You're defined by you, and not by what doctors say, what your family says, or what your partner says. And especially doctors, like in the sense of health, because doctors told me, you got 3 years to live, you got 2 years to live,
They told you've got 3 years to live 3 years ago.
Girl.
Good and well and looking gorgeous.
Honey, thank you so much. So, because I was like, look, I'm going to do it. I can do it. I will do it. I'll do it for my daughter, But at the same time, it needs you. That's why I was saying your mental health is a serious thing. Because if you keep on listening to what people are saying,
you end up believing it.
Absolutely. You do. And also in terms of God, like, I believe that I'm here because of him. He has put me on a journey of purpose. He's put me on a journey of service. He's put me on a journey of making sure that women are looked after in a vulnerable and honest way. Because I think us women go through so many issues. I mean, listening to the stories that you guys hear, you're going,
it's a
but
lot.
why? And I don't believe women are supposed to, and I'm getting emotional, but I don't think women are supposed to suffer themselves. I don't want somebody to go through what I went through, because it was lonely.
And I'm sure you wished you had other voices who were speaking positively at the time. And I think that's sometimes how we find our purpose. When something is not there, then that's the exact space you're supposed to feel.
Absolutely.
And like, if I looked for it, I couldn't find it, that means it's not there. But God then shows you that this is what's needed. Girl, you better do it.
Absolutely.
Because it's been waiting for you. So
Absolutely.
do you think the experience that you went through with cancer helped you find your purpose?
Oh, definitely. Like, without a doubt. That's why I say also, in hindsight, I'm thankful for the cancer, because it's given me purpose. I don't look at it as a death threat. I look at it as I was reborn, in a sense of knowing exactly what, you know what I mean? Also, when I have because I still have my challenges. I still financial problems. I still, being a mother to a 3-year-old, that's
on its own,
girl. So you know what I mean. So, but because I know what I'm doing in life, it's okay. Those can come, because God's going to get me right.
and he is getting you, right? You know,
Yeah.
where are you now in terms of your health?
Okay. For the first time in 6 years, I can say that I am very close to remission. So I just need to go for because with so remission is they can't see any cancer in my body, but there are lesions on my spine because it did metastasize to my bones. So I just need to go for
So
bone
what are
scans.
lesions? Is like signs of the cancer or what?
So yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So we all do have lesions on our spine, but it's a thing of if it is cancerous or not.
Okay.
So also like with breast cancer, you can have dense breasts, and you may think what you're feeling is a tumor, but it's not necessarily cancerous. So you may have a tumor, but it's not cancerous.
Okay.
Just like with cancer, everybody does have cancer cells, but they're just not activated. So my cancer cells are, in a sense, activated.
Okay.
So the lesions, we need to just see if they are cancerous or not.
Okay.
But I'm feeling good.
But you're still on treatment?
Yes, I'm still on treatment. So it may be like a lifelong thing, because they are managing. When you get to stage 4, they do say that there's no cure. Well, medically they say there's no cure, but my God says He has healed me.
Amen.
So they just, like, from medically speaking, like they just manage the thing. So if it gets bad, you go back on chemo.
Okay.
If it's still good, then, like, for instance,
You manage it.
Yeah, so I'm on medication tablets that every morning so the tumor doesn't grow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then physically, your breasts, did they go back to normal?
No.
Okay.
So my left side, I don't have one. My right side, I obviously do, because it was just in the left side. But I think when you spend a lot of time with God, because at the same time before I was just like, I'm not a woman because I don't, I still sometimes now when I look at different tops or I look at different women's physique, I'm just like, I can't. But I'm not, as I said, I'm not defined by my physical appearance.
Yeah.
I'm not defined by, what I don't have. Because I believe that if you don't want to get to know me, it's fine. You're missing out anyway. Because because my experiences have humbled me to see life differently. So I'm not. Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful. Sure, your experiences has humbled you to see life differently.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Thank you.
The mental health side of it. So do you go for therapy? How do you cope? Because for me, you sound very in
stable.
control of the situation, but I
stable.
know it's because you've put in a lot of work in the background, and you did mention that you were at some point like at a very, very low point.
Absolutely.
And I really just wanted to address this issue, because if anything happens to you physically or your health or anything, it always just gets you mentally and emotionally as well. So while you're balancing this side with treatment and medication and everything, how do you then keep up on this side?
Okay. First of all, I always keep reference to God, because He's the one that really balances me out. He also brings people in my life, and I hesitated there because also when I talk about my support system, I also get very emotional, because I don't think I would be a sane person if I didn't have my support system. Because I'm a very stubborn person, so it doesn't matter, like, if I've made a decision, they know that they can't try and change my mind, but they support me and equip me to be able to continue going with the decision I have made, And I don't believe I've got friends. I believe I've got soul sisters and soul brothers, because God brought them in my life to be able to go through and still champion me on through it, So I do have my good days. I do have my bad days. But I think for me as well, She Speaks SA hasn't just, it's not only there to heal other women, it's also healing me. Like when I actually started the company, I think that's when my real true healing began, because I was crying every day. I was, but also I was able to listen to stories of women that have overcome challenges And I'm going, you know, it's always good to be around like-minded people that can lift you up. Because even for myself, like as soon as I smell negativity, spread 100%. Like,
protect your heart, girl.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Protect
like I'm gone, you know. So I mean, and also to be honest, Anash's father, his support as well. He's been there. Yes, here and there we have had ups and downs. He's also had to. I mean, as a cancer patient, you need to know that you may be going through it, but your support system is also going through it just in a different way. Yeah.
They're also affected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he has taken a step back sometimes, but he's always come back. And the fact that he always comes back, I'm secure in the fact that regardless, it doesn't matter. You know?
And he's a great father.
An amazing father.
Oh,
like my daughter cannot, so we don't stay together.
Yeah.
But my daughter cannot go a day without saying hello, Dada.
Love it.
No, yeah.
I think that's special. That's very special.
So yeah, no. Currently now, I'm not seeing someone in terms of therapy. No, therapy.
Oh. I was like, no, because she just spoke about. So, oh yes, yeah. So just like immediately after that, I was like, okay.
No, in terms of therapy, I'm not saying anybody, but one of my friends is a social worker, and even though you're not supposed to really be your friend's therapist, she just really, the way she discussed everything with me, it was like along the lines of therapy, but she just gave me showed me on other ways to look at something. Because I mean, for instance, prior, I don't believe in I didn't want to have a kid without being married, and just that in itself, I went into depression because I'm like, it's not the right way. And she was like, but what is right, you know? So her asking me things like that, now throughout my life, I'm looking and saying, okay, but what is right? Like, what is the right way, you know? So it's very important in terms of your support system, in terms of, and that's what keeps me afloat.
Okay, so let's talk about the medical fraternity.
Yes.
How has the journey been, you know, are there cost implications involved? Are you using the state, public, private? And how's that journey? As well. Accessibility, service, all of that for you.
So I am at Joburg Gen. It's and my oncologist is, I would say, one of the best people. If she even once said to me, nobody's going to die on my watch, type of thing. And that also just gave me confidence. She actually told me this last week because I went for results for my scans. But Joburg Gen, for me, I look at it completely different. Because yes, it's great going to a private hospital, but there was a time when I wasn't doing too well and I was just bloated everywhere. And I couldn't go see my oncologist because it was over the weekend. So I went to a private doctor, and he was just like, I don't know what to give you. Like, you're pregnant, you're cancer, you are a hot mess. I don't know what to give you. All I can do is just refer you back to your oncologist. So when I went to go see my oncologist, now because at Joburg Gen, like, they see so many different types of cases. Because I mean, emotionally, even just going to Joburg Gen, because the things that you see, because the way people are hurt, and she knew what to do. So to be honest, for me, because it worked in my favor, because they knew exactly what needed to be done, because they've seen so many different cases, you know. But finances, yeah, it was.
So are you able to work?
No. Well, I'm not able to work because whenever I say I've got this, you know, medically, no, it's fine. I don't get a job
because there because
because
sick leave.
It runs out.
And chemo, and they're like, she's gonna go to chemo, then she needs a week to recover.
Exactly.
And then she's probably not fully recovered on the third week, and they're just not risking it.
Yes. Because also as well, you never know when you have to go back. Because one time you go on with Joburg Gen, you go on a Thursday, everyth's fine, you go, you know, you see your doctor, but then you don't have enough time to do chemo, so you have to go back the next day. So in a sense of you never know how long you're going to be in the hospital for, you know.
Okay, so financially, is it your business that's helping you with your daughter, or it's just the support of the dad as well?
I to be honest, I also don't know. I just
You're
believe that
surviving.
God, I'm surviving. Like God is He provides, you know. As soon as I run out, He puts back, you know, because it honestly is a lot. Like there was a time where, I give an example, like, so with cancer and chemo, it doesn't just get your way, like let's say you've got breast cancer, it doesn't just get the breast, it gets everything. Like the beginning of the year, so I went to go take out my teeth because the chemo and the medication, it's weakened my teeth. And I'm still, like, I've still got problems with my tooth now, where I have to now go for a CT scan because they took out the tooth and they weren't supposed to take out the teeth because my bones don't heal the same way a normal bone heals. So in a month, I can go to the hospital 5 times for 5 different things, you know. So it's either the tooth, then it's a CT scan, then it's a bone scan, then it's, because now in November I have to go for another CT scan for my tooth instead of my bones. So it's, the way your body is connected, so in 1 month, you can empty out your pockets. Easily. And also because Joburg Jen is here this side, Auckland Park, I'm all the way in Fourways. So it's, you know, commute, up and down. So yeah, and also the medication. Like, blessed enough to say that Joburg Jen does give all your medication, and they make sure that they give you enough. But as I said, like, you can go for one thing, but then you need something else. So for instance, now the medication that I'm on, I'm constipated. So I also then have to have medication to unconstipate me. I know that's not English. But so then if that runs out and I haven't seen my doctor, then I have to go
to pay for it.
I have to go to this pharmacy and get it. You know, so it's all connected, you know. So even though I am at a public, it's still the commute going up.
Sure.
The lunch,
And that is her story, ladies and gentlemen. Sure. I think just the way that you're telling the story, I can tell that you are in the right place. And I now understand what it takes to just be a holistic person. Spiritual wellness, emotional wellness, as well as physical wellness. And you have managed to balance all 3 of those things so well. So well done.
Thank you.
And keep fighting, keep going. We're standing with you and we're praying for you.
Thank you so
much. And also your organization, we said is She Speaks.
Yes, She Speaks SA.
She Speaks SA. Okay, we'll definitely follow it. We'll get the social media details for our viewers to also, you know, follow it and support her. I think it's such a great initiative, and may God continue to bless you and your support system. You spoke a lot about having a support system, and I really urge people out there who are watching or listening, support is so important. Make sure you are there for your loved ones. The same way you want people to be there for you, be there for other people. So many great lessons to learn from today's show. Thank you for sharing your story. Send our love to your gorgeous, busy daughter. Hope you have to go and pick up from school right now. So thank you for watching. Until next time, from myself, Innocent, and myself, Millicent, and our amazing guest. It's bye for now.